is mystical. Rhythm is spiritual. Rhythm is powerful. It has coexisted with mankind since the dawn of time. There are large rhythmic cycles like the change of the seasons, the orbit of the earth around the sun, the swelling of the sea, and there are smaller rhythmic cycles like the life of a tree, the life of a person, the sun rising and setting, and even smaller cycles again like a baby's rapid heartbeat or an adult's slower heartbeat, the barking of a dog or the clapping of hands. Everything has a rhythm to it, and it's what lets us know we are alive. As drummers, we are chosen as vessels to keep rhythm important, to make people's bodies move, to spread joy, fear, create tension, keep time, and most importantly, to make music feel good. The power of rhythm is not to be taken lightly by anyone who ventures down its rhythmic path. If you pick up the sticks, you should know there's a long journey ahead of you. Rhythm is a living thing, and it is embedded deep into our DNA, everyone's DNA. The knowledge we have today, as sophisticated as we know it to be, comes from a very old place. From the 5,000-year-old practice of playing a rattle to a newborn baby, to watching an infant react and instinctively dance when they hear rhythm being played, we can see its magic. It's fascinating to watch when we play a rhythm and it affects a person's physicality. Rhythm can do that. That's when you can see its power in action. That is when you understand why we play the drums. It is a gift, and a gift that we give to everyone who joins in the rhythmic cycle and connects on a deep level to what we do. It is our passion. It is our goal. It is our life.
That was fantastic.
Thank you, Jared.
Great.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Kelso.
Hi, everybody.
Before we get started, that was fantastic. Do you mind just telling everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're from originally?
Okay, sure. Kelso's a Scottish name, but I was born in Northern Ireland in Belfast. I came to Canada with my parents when I was 9 years old and pretty much grew up in Toronto. And Toronto being such a multicultural city, I found myself gravitating towards a lot of musical styles in the city and learned a lot about music. I don't know that I would have got the musical education I have if I had stayed in Ireland. So I'm thankful to my parents for coming here and doing that. My dad was a drummer, Sam Kelso, and he taught me when I was 12. And it's been a love affair ever since.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you. I really think you're like one of the underrated drummers. Not to saying you're not rated really high in my books, but it's amazing that I don't think enough people know about you, all of your kind of philosophies for this instrument. I know everyone got a taste of it before the lesson started, that's something you wrote
this morning.
This morning.
Yeah, I was inspired by doing this. I thought I want to say something about rhythm.
Yeah. And so you guys and girls are in for a real treat today. This lesson is going to be incredible. Some of the stuff that Mark has to share is just great. Now, one of the things I do want to mention is he just is releasing a DVD. And you're accepting pre-orders now, but it'll be fully released on your website.
Yeah, it'll be ready very shortly, a couple of weeks.
So if you check out groovydrums.com, that's groovy with no E, Y. Check out groovydrums.com, you can place your order. I highly recommend it. It's going to be, I haven't actually seen it yet because it's not out, but I know it's going to be incredible just from talking to you and listening to all the different concepts that are flying up in your head. So Mark teaches at Humber College in Toronto.
I'm the head of the drum department there, yeah.
And you played with some artists, such as like Gino Vanelli, Michael Buble, Pat Metheny's, John Schofield, Shania Twain, and many more. I think one year you said you played with 200 plus different artists. I think in total, in my career, I think I've played over 300 different bands. That's crazy. Now, with the new DVD you have coming out, as well as this great CD, now that song was the Jazz Exiles, which is from the Jazz Exiles CD, and that's actually the theme song.
Yeah, it's our theme song, yeah.
And you'll be playing two more throughout this lesson. So you have that CD, which was recently released.
It's brand new as well, yeah.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we want to give away one copy of the DVD.
Awesome.
And one copy of the CD. And so you guys know the drill is once this video gets onto YouTube, just leave a comment below the YouTube lesson telling us what your favorite part of the lesson is. It's not going to be that hard to find a favorite part.
If you have one.
It won't be that hard. But tell us your favorite part of the lesson. It really helps us know what you really, really love about the lessons. And you get a chance to win the Jazz Exiles new CD or a copy of Mark's new DVD, which is coming out very, very soon. Yeah. The new DVD is called
Musician First, Drummer Second.
Yeah. And we were talking about that. I originally heard that from
Mark McLean.
Yes. And you actually know Mark McLean as well.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Also, really wanted to thank Sean Brown from Yamaha, a super supportive company here at Drumeo.
And Paisty.
And Paisty cymbals and Evans drumheads and Headhunters drumsticks, as well as Plunge audio in your monitor.
In our monitor, yeah.
But Sean's been great. He actually connected us for this lesson, so I love working with them. And then one more thing before we get into the lesson is we do this sort of thing on Drumeo once a day. We publish one new 1 hour drum lesson every day with a different instructor. And so if you'd like to try it out, just go to drumeo.com/trial. It's free for the first 30 days. You can cancel at any time. You can cancel on the 29th day. We don't care. We just really want you to try it. You can even try it for up to 90 days. And if you still don't like it, we'll give you your money back. But I just want people to experience what it's like to be inside. But yeah, so let's get into the lesson. This is going to be a fun lesson. Yeah, we talked earlier about what to do, and I thought fun with a metronome. Yeah. Although, as I said, behind the scenes, my students at Humber would say, fun? More like torture. It's fun when you get it. It's great when you get it. It's like you've accomplished this great goal. Right. I've been playing drums for ages, probably 40 years, and I'm fascinated with rhythm. And at this point, I think, we're talking about genres and styles and all these things, and I think, it's just easier if we just
put it down to one basic thing. It's rhythm, how well you know and understand rhythms, what your vocabulary is with those rhythms, and how well you can manipulate and control those rhythms. So I think back about when I was younger and when I was playing with a lot of guys who were older than me, and I got a lot of comments like, man, your feel is edgy. You're rushing, or it's dragging. Problem with the time. And so I really worked hard to build up my time to a point where I felt really good about it. But then I still got things like, you know, the feel needs work. And I'm thinking, well, I can play in time. I can play with a metronome. What are they talking about? And it eventually dawned on me that having good time was actually not enough. It was not enough. It was important, but it didn't seem to be the whole deal, the whole equation. And the thing that was lacking for me was the feeling of it. So I was playing something, but interpreting it in a way that was very stiff, mechanical, because I thought, well, it has to be tight to the click track. It has to be super solid. Now, as an example, I will play you something that is in perfect time with a click. And just give you an example of the difference between something that is, they're both going to be in time, but they're going to feel radically different. So, 96 BPM. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's in time, but does it make you want to get up and, you know, shake your thing and move your body? No. So if I play that same groove, but I'm thinking about the way it feels more than keeping it in solid time, it has a whole different sound to it. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, definitely heard the difference there.
Which one makes you want to shake your head? Which one affects your physicality more?
Yeah, definitely the second one.
Number 2, why?
I thought it felt more human to me. The first one felt very, very like...
Very stiff, very rigid, very metronomic.
Yeah, no texture, so just like flatline.
Right. Now what I did there is, even though the tempos were identical, they're both at the same tempo, the way I approached it was radically different in my conception. I thought, the first one I felt, I actually had to force myself to play really rigid and stiff and very metronomic. The second one is like, I want to relax and lay back. Lay back. That's something I heard all my life growing up, and it was like, you know, I talked to older musicians, like, you know, so how do I lay back? I don't understand. You guys are telling me this. And most of the time I got this answer, hey man, if you have to ask. Right? So now I feel stupid, and I didn't get my question answered, but it's a very hard thing to describe. So when we talk about time feel, if this is the center of the quarter note, there are ways where we can play. There's 3 ways to approach this that we look and we term in music. Ahead of the beat, which is someone who feels music slightly ahead and rushed or slightly anxious. This is very common in younger players, and something that I had to fight a lot myself when I was quite young. Because you have a lot of energy, and it's like you almost can't control it. You just are so excited to play that you get this sense of urgency and excitement. Then the second one is the terminology of being down the middle or in the center, where you line up with the click track and you're locking it down the middle, sometimes referred to as nailing the click or burying the click. This is a really good one in the studio, and a real sort of preferable one where people should stay. The one that was the hardest for me, because it was the farthest away, was what we term behind the beat or laying back. So what I did there in that second example was I consciously made the decision to lay back a little bit on the beat. And so I started experimenting with these feels so that I could understand the 3 different placements of the beat and then control them at will so that I had control over the rhythm that I was playing and the placement so that in any given situation I was able to adjust to different musicians or playing in a studio with click tracks. Now a funny thing happened and I started thinking about this. Is like, it was amazing how much room there was between one quarter note and the next quarter note.
Yeah.
It was actually fascinating. And I'll demonstrate right now. Because the thing that, when I was young, people were saying, you gotta lay back. I'm thinking, well, I didn't even know that my time feel was on top or edgy until people started telling me.
Yeah.
And I thought, what am I gonna do about this? So I started recording myself, listening to myself so I could hear it back and try and listen and try to understand. And I think I finally got the idea about groove and feel when I saw Bernard Purdie at a drum clinic, and then I heard Steve Gadd on a couple of records. And I was like, oh, that sounds really groovy and funky. I want to try and emulate that. And it started to strike me as where their placement of the time was laying back. So if I'm playing here, it's really good for young students to understand where their time feel is naturally, and if they have to adjust or adapt to change it. Again, people are working on time all the time, working 1, 2, 3, 4, keeping it in time, but it's not enough. You have to understand where your time feel is and where you sit in relation to that tempo.
Yeah.
So watch here, I'll play the same thing, 96 BPM again, and I'm gonna move around. The tempo will still remain the same. It's never moving, so the click in my headphones never changes, but where my relationship to it is going to drastically change, and you can see how it affects the way things sound. You'll hear it sound more groovy on the backside, tighter in the middle, and not so tight, a little bit distorted on the front end. Here we go. So you can listen and you can hear me move around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can't hear the click. Can you hear the click?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can hear it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So that's one tempo.
Yeah.
Look at the margin for error or the margin for movement in there. It's huge.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it can be subtle, but there I'm doing kind of an extreme example so that the people can hear it and go, that sounds like me. or, oh, I want to sound like that.
Right.
You know, just so people can hear the difference. Because, as I said, when I was younger, it was very difficult for me to understand this concept of ahead, behind, or down the center. And then once I got it, I was like, ferocious tiger. I want to learn this. I want to understand this so I can play better. Because again, all the older guys were telling me that my feel was not good, or it was just too edgy. And I was like, I got to fix this if I want to have a career. And I found out it's probably making music feel good is probably the most important thing I've ever come across in my life. You know, for playing drums. If no matter what the style is, if it feels good, if I'm playing a bluegrass thing with Russell DeCarl and it feels good, I don't care that I'm playing the simplest beat in the world. It's like, this feels awesome. I never want it to stop. I'm so into this. I'm afraid to move. I don't even want to play a fill. The whole point is to serve the music and really get inside, making it feel good. And when you look around and everybody's smiling, there's a joy in that is indescribable. And you just come away from the gig feeling like this was the greatest experience of my life.
Yeah, that's cool.
So sorry.
Oh, sorry. When it comes to the different tempos, you're saying that was just one tempo.
That's just one tempo.
Is it something you went to like really slow at like 60, 50 beats per minute and practiced at that tempo, trying to like move or have that awareness, and then again really fast, like at 180? Or?
Well, I think for the purpose of demonstrations for my students, I keep it in the 96, 80, like 80 to 100, just so they can sort of hear it. It's harder to do slower, obviously, and faster. There's less room the notes are tighter together, so it's less obvious.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it's faster, they want that excitement anyway.
Yeah.
But it makes such a huge difference on the feel of music. Like, why don't I play a groove with a tune and give you an example here. If I play something and I'll play in the pocket and you'll hear me come out of the pocket going ahead or laying back, you hear, wow, it doesn't sound good, or that's where it sounds good. You're looking for that spot in between all those areas where you can lock in and make something feel good.
Definitely hear the difference coming in.
Yeah, you're sitting there going, yeah, this is good, and all of a sudden it's like someone just came up and shoved you. It's like, whoa, what happened? It was there. You took something away from me as a listener. You're listening, going, yeah, and all of a sudden you just, what happened? It's almost confusing, right? It's a distortion of rhythm. When things line up, it's almost like they get out of sync. Well, they do get out of sync, but it's like nothing makes sense. The whole mix of the song, everything sounds bizarre.
Yeah.
And then when you line it up, it's like, everything goes, So you can feel it as a listener. You go, that's great. And then it's gone. You're like, what happened? Something's weird.
Yeah.
And then it clicks. And it's like, oh, okay, that was weird. But it's almost hard to describe. So in looking at this, I thought, how on earth can I what's a good exercise to make me try and sit back on the time? How can I work with this metronome and understand laying back and getting ahead? How can I control it and try and hold it back? And I came up with this idea of what I would call metronomic displacement. Most people, they use the metronome as, I don't want to say a boat anchor, but it's kind of what it is. If it's always on downbeats, on 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple of things can happen. It can function like a big boat anchor, and in that you can play to it, but what happens when you take that away? And it's not on the gig and you're playing with other guys? Do you miss that sensation of it controlling the time? Right? Because it can take over and you can sort of follow. Drummers have to lead. Right? They have to lead the rhythm and be powerful in their conviction and their control. You take that away, you have a weak drummer, then nothing feels centered, nothing feels strong, and people are floundering, going, wow, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So we have to be solid. So I thought, why don't we take the metronome away and put it on weaker beats so that we own the downbeats. We own those downbeats. And a funny thing happened. I found that when I started doing this, I was all over the place, going, man, I am like losing it.
Yeah.
Which, of course, I took that to mean challenge. I need to get this down because I can't do it or I'm having trouble with it. And I'm of the personality that I hate when I can't do something. So I started to work on it and shed it. And first of all, I just went simple on the offbeats, on the upbeats or the eighth notes. So for that, you know, we go here. So, you know, normally we're always going to hear, we're going to hear 1, 2. We practice like this. Now I like to hear it as this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what that does, it all of a sudden solidifies my quarter notes because it's playing the subdivision. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I know by listening to ga, 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 I start to hear where my placement is. And when you do that, you can discover really quickly if it feels awkward because you're getting ahead. The most common thing in these exercises is people rush and they drop beats, A, because they can't control their time, and B, because they feel the tug of the anchor, the boat anchor pulling it back.
I would do a fill and I'd come back on, be right back on the one again.
Happens to my students all the time. They're like, what happened? I said, you dropped a 16th note.
Yeah.
I did? How? It's just we're so trained to do that. So we're trying to open the mind to getting rid of that boat anchor click. So now, here I'll show you some experimenting on the and.
Okay.
Getting in is always the hardest part. But once you're in, it's a lot of fun. Now,
that sounded great.
Oh, thank you, thank you. You sound surprised.
No, it sounds great. I'm just taking it all in, man.
Now, for me, this is way more fun.
Yeah.
Because now the rhythmic element of the click takes on a whole new light in that it feels like I'm playing with someone else. When the click's on the downbeat, I think after a while it can become quite boring, quite mundane. And so this way for me changed it up. And because it's playing rhythmic, it's playing the upbeats, but also there's an accent on beat 4. 1, 2, 3, ga, 2, 2, ga. I start to play with that, and you heard me start to move around it, and it became like a second rhythmic melody against what I'm playing.
Yeah.
And I started to move my thing around with it. So instead of the me and the click being like this, now the concept is me and the click are like this. And its rhythm works with my rhythm, and we go in conjunction to make a really solid, powerful rhythm together.
Yeah.
So man and machine are working together to create this powerful thing. So it's not mechanical, it's organic, it feels good, it's strong, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Right? And so when I started doing that, I thought, well, this is great. I mean, I'm getting good with the ands and the upbeats. And as I found it works good for like pop, rock, works good for jazz, because the 2 and 4 is an important a pulse in the jazz idiom. And then the New Orleans thing, because that pop on beat 4, it's like, it worked perfectly. The Brazilian thing there, I was doing some samba reggae, a little bit of samba, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, it works perfectly with that.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, well, what if I move it onto the 16th? And this is where I got my face slapped. It was like, bah, no, I don't think so. Machine's back in control. I was like, man, are you kidding me? This was hard. So now, the next step for me was to master trying to get it on the 4th, 16th.
Yeah.
1 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So now we're going to hear that. So I do this.
What are you thinking? Because this is my biggest issue.
I subdivide. I start going, well, the thing is, I hear it instantly now because I've learned it.
Yeah, you've done it so much.
The worst thing you can think of when you're doing something new is, wow, this is really hard. Get that mindset out of your head. Don't think it's hard. Just think, this is really challenging. I haven't got this yet. Because that's a more positive statement, meaning that you intend to get it. When you say, this is really hard, it's kind of like, well, you're not going to get it, or you're going to fail.
Yeah.
It's kind of a negative reinforcement, which I'm not a fan of, ever, for anything. I want positive reinforcement, or some way to make the students think they can get this, no matter how hard or how difficult it is. It's just perseverance and just don't quit.
Yeah.
So as soon as I start it, I hear it, I know what I want to hear, so I go, and I know that I want the accent there. Got it. I know I want it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
sounds so cool. Like
It's really fun.
when you're playing, and when you were playing on it, you were actually off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or not off, but you know.
So I right there. I know it's only a 1 hour lesson, so I'm kind of burning through, the idea of taking it to the next level and getting more risky and more creative with it by displacing the same way you would if it was a quarter note.
Yeah.
Well, let's push it to playing on the 4/16th or the 2nd 16th or the 8th note. So I've explored all these possibilities, and I get this incredible sense of confidence and strength. Yeah. And as I say, I've been playing a lot of drums for a long time. And working on this exercise alone in the last 4 years or so, I felt that I've taken my groove to a new level, because it's really easy to get out of it, to get out of that groove and just drop a beat and go, whoa, I'm on the beat.
With all the fills, like we were chatting before, with all those faster fills, it's really easy to drop a 16th.
Super easy. And then what happens is sometimes you don't even notice. And then you're playing and all of a sudden you're going, oh, I'm on the beat.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Yeah.
And that means you dropped your focus. You're playing a 16th note away and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really important that we don't get into that headspace to make a big mistake and not catch it.
Yeah.
Right? So when I play like this, I know exactly where it is and where it's supposed to be and when I get off. And I still do get off, but I like to push it. So now I've been experimenting with all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Like on that one, I can take out the quarter note, so I just get the accent.
So that's a lot of practice.
It's a lot of practice,
right there, yeah.
But you know what? It's really creative practicing.
Yeah.
It's really creative practicing because now I'm working with the metronome to get back to what I started with.
Yeah.
Just create rhythm.
And it creates such a, you have to so intensely focus. You can't even
Ultimately, aside from it being a time exercise and a feel exercise and a groove exercise, ultimately, it's a focus exercise, and not only that, more importantly than focusing, it's a listening exercise. Because what you're doing is you're splitting your brain going, I'm going to play one rhythm, but there's this conflicting or opposing rhythm, a polyrhythm, if you will, that is going against what I'm doing. So my accuracy and placement of what I'm doing has to be so spot on, otherwise the whole thing falls apart. So it's like a tightrope. You're walking a tightrope, but when you're on there and it's feeling good, it's fantastic. But one wrong move, down you go, and the whole thing combusts, and you're like, and then you're like, oh man, I got to listen to it again. Yeah. Right? How are we doing for time?
We need to move her along here. So you had. I just wanted to quickly. I know if anyone wants more from Mark, you got to get the DVD.
Yeah, I go into this at a much deeper level, and I've got a thing on there for doing displaced metronome at 30 BPM.
Right.
Last triplet, slow swing. It's wacky. My students actually they hate me for that one.
Are you going to demo that at least?
No. That's on the DVD.
All right.
If you want that, you got to buy the DVD. Shameless. Marketing strategy 101.
Hey man, you're giving us a lot to work on here, so we appreciate that. I always say that it's a good lesson when the student will watch especially online, when a student
Yeah.
watches the video and then they just have to go straight to their drum set. And this is one of those lessons for me. Like, I would love, we're going to go out for dinner probably.
Yeah.
But I would love to go to my kid after and just like work on this and shed this by myself. And so it's a great concept. So
Well, as I say, it's all about placement of the rhythm and controlling the rhythm and owning the rhythm. So when you move it to a weaker subdivision, second 16th note or what, or even middle triplet or third triplet,
right.
it opens up all rhythmic possibilities, but it is hard.
Yeah.
And it takes you a second to really go, where is it supposed to be? And how is this working? And then how does it work with me?
Right.
So it's a long process. So I just urge anybody who's trying this, do not give up. Don't go, oh, this is too hard. It's not too hard. You just got to work on it. Just keep going, keep pushing yourself so that you get it, because you'll have an incredible sense of accomplishment and satisfaction.
Right.
Once you get it down. You go, hey, I can do it. And then that gives you more confidence. And then it's like, let me try that little polyrhythmic thing he did. Because you noticed I was doing like a superimposed metric modulation on the 4th 16th.
Yeah.
Right? And you got, people, my students look at me like, what are you doing? You're devising more ways to punish us? I said, no, I'm enjoying this. It's actually fun. Now, as I said, when I started, it was really hard. But 4 years in, now it's really fun. And I don't fear it. I'm confident, but I understand, I feel creative when I do that, and it gives me ideas. So I'm not going, what am I going to do? I'm going, it's playing this. I don't take it. I play rhythms. I play less rhythms. I use just my feet. I use just my hands. I just play time. I take out the subdivisions and just have an accent. I mean, there's 15 ways to do it from one idea.
Right.
I'm all about expanding one idea and taking that one idea and working with it as much as you possibly can, so that you fulfill all the possibilities.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, that's all the lesson time we have for today. So
I hope you like this. Don't send me hate mail. If don't spam my website. If you go, man, I wish I'd never watched this episode.
No way, man.
You're torturing me.
So you're going to play another song called Aqueous, also from the CD, The Jazz Exiles.
Yes.
And like I said earlier on in this video, if you'd like the chance to win a free copy of this, leave a comment below the YouTube lesson. Tell us what your favorite part of this lesson is. You could also be entered to win a copy of his new DVD, Musician First, Drummer Second. Or you could just buy both of them too, which would be all right. So he's going to play the song, and after that, we're going to take some questions. So if you're watching this live, there's the Submit a Question button right below the video player. Just go ahead and click that, enter your question in, and we'll get to those right after this song.
Okay. I want to point out that I am doing these are play-along tracks from the record. And if you like them, I'm probably going to put them online as well. If people are looking for play-alongs, drum play-alongs, they'll be available probably in a week or so online. I have them with click, but these ones that I'm playing with, because I like to live dangerously, there's only a click in the count-in and the 4-bar drum break. The rest, I'm just listening to the music, because it trains me to just try and play like I was playing in a live setting, as opposed to listening to the click and not listening to the band. Here we go, Aqueous.
Thank you.
Funky.
Do you guys play? You play live a lot with this band, right?
Not as much as I'd like to, because it's a relatively new band.
Okay.
Whoops. Stop. It's a brand new band. I had the idea 10 years ago, and then, or 11 years ago, and then my wife and I had our first kid, and that took priority.
Yeah.
And then teaching, I got the teaching job, started teaching, and before you know it, 10 years had passed, and I thought, I got to put my band together, because I had the name, the Jazz Exiles. I thought, I really liked that, and I knew I wanted Robbie Botosh on keyboards and Rich Brown on bass, and then I just had to figure out sax. I got Luis Dennis, fantastic saxophone player from Cuba, and then I was going to be a quartet, and then I liked one of my students at Humber, guitar player Joey Martell, so much in my ensemble. I added guitar in the band because he's funky, but he's also got that metal edge. It's a little, so I thought, let's bring a bit of the youth thing into this, because the rest of us are a little bit older. But it sort of follows the old mentorship program that Art Blakely was famous for, hiring young guys with the older guys, mix and match, and then Archie Aline and Norm Marshall Villeneuve, two very fine Canadian drummers. Archie sadly passed away there a little while ago. But those guys were legendary in Toronto for hiring hot young players and bringing them onto the scene and sort of breaking them through. And I always liked that kind of mentorship idea. Now that I'm an older musician, because I was one of those younger guys coming in, now I'm on the flip side. So I want to bring the younger guys in and get them playing with older musicians.
Awesome. Okay, so we got quite a few questions. We'll get through as many as possible.
Yes, no, maybe, 450 and 16.
Well, the first question might use some of those. This is from Guy N.A.Z. Is it possible to get a copy of your opening dialogue?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we could post that on our blog or
yeah,
somewhere along
absolutely.
with the lesson.
He liked it then, I guess.
Oh, yes. He liked it.
Wow.
I'm guessing, unless he why else would he want?
Yeah. Maybe he wanted to fix the punctuation errors and grammar. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Next one's from Kyle Drummer. Hi, Mark. You really teach in Toronto? That's a question mark. How would I be guided to the right path in order to go to percussion, university, or college? What other requirements would I need as a high school student? Thanks again.
Oh, well, I mean, the easiest thing to do is go on to OCAS, the Ontario College Application Service online.
Yeah.
And you'll, for that works for Ontario, if you're on Ontario. Well, you can still go to the website.
Right.
And it gives you all the options for all the schools. And all the auditions are done through there.
Okay.
And usually most schools online have like an audition curriculum. I know for Humber, we have everything's posted online. You can see the requirements of what you have to learn.
Yeah.
Auditions are always held in March of that year for the following September. It's good to work on the stuff with a qualified teacher rather than just sit there and try and figure it out for yourself. You might waste a lot of time doing that. It's good to come in prepared.
Yeah. This one's from Drummer Chick. Hi, Mark. You have a new fan.
Thank you.
My question is it normal for my ear to want to hear to want to correct the metronome to an on beat when I practice with it on an off beat?
Yes, absolutely. It's very natural. That's why I called it the big boat anchor, because when we've done something for so long, we take it for granted, and then we automatically just go there. And then when you move it, it's like trying to move a mountain. It's like, wait a second. What? Your brain, you basically have to retrain your thinking, retrain your brain, and retrain your listening, hearing skills.
Yeah.
It takes a while. Sometimes it could take a week, a day, or a month, depending on the person's rhythmic knowledge of where beats lie.
Yeah.
I make it look easier than it is because I've been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah. For me, it would be easy if I had like a 2-bar click in, like on the beat, and then the click for the remainder of however long stays on the 4th, 16th note or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, you could program that in on, if you had a thing like GarageBand or Logic, you could set up a click and do that easily enough.
Yeah, I might do that actually. From Aaron L. says, great lesson and amazing approach. What metronome are you using? There's a few questions about the metronome.
Oh, it's the Yamaha metronome app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look
for the Yamaha metronome app. It used to be called the Click Station.
Okay.
Right. It was funny because that used to be $200, and then the app was like $4.99.
Yeah.
And it's got all the same features.
Right. Hey, Jared and Mark, it's Mike McLaren.
Oh.
Loved the lesson. I remember some of this from the masterclass, but I don't remember the third triplet click at 30 BPM. How on earth do you even begin to hear that?
Do they want to hear that?
Well, if you want, you don't have to.
I'll give them a real quick demo.
Okay. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. We recorded the warm up, and we're just gonna.
Here we go. Okay, so this is 30 BPM, last triplet. Takes a second. You have to subdivide triplets.
That's great.
It's very calming. It's very calming. But when you first start, try to do it, it's a lot of anxiety.
I don't think I'd be calm when I would be doing that.
But you can get into an almost meditative state when you get it going. That's the beauty about that. Now I get why practicing slow is so important.
Yeah. Cool.
You'll see. I know Mike. He bought the DVD already.
Okay.
And I know when he sees that exercise, the grid, he's gonna go, "What?
Yeah.
It's nuts."
One more question, and then we got another song that we're going to end the lesson with. So everyone stick around. And so last question is from John Gambita. Is it okay to hear a song playing along in our head as we play along with the metronome?
Oh, always. It doesn't have to be a song. Like when I'm doing that, I'm thinking of melody or just some kind of rhythmic groove. I'm thinking maybe of a bass line, but it's always based on the subdivision that we're in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of something that lines up with what I'm playing. You know, a great one for the 4/16 thing is "What Is Hip." It fits perfectly in that grid.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, absolutely. You should always be thinking about music, or have some kind of musical reference when you're on the drums.
Yeah.
I don't even bother with counting or subdividing 1-eanda, 2-eanda. I would go. I'm singing rhythms or I'm singing melody.
Yeah.
Because what I do has to have a connection to music. And 1, 2, 3, 4 for me doesn't do it.
Cool. All right. So thank you so much.
Oh man, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for Yamaha Paiste for sending me out here.
Yeah, it's been great. They've all been so supportive. If you do want to check out more what you have going on at Drumeo, you can go to drumeo.com/trial. You can try it out for free for 30 days. I'd also encourage you to check out Mark's website, groovydrums.com, groovy with no E. And you can check out all the CDs and music he's produced, and as well as his new DVD, which is going to be great. So the last song you're going to be playing is called Fred's Fast City, again from the Jazz Exiles CD.
Yes, it's my homage to the great band Weather Report and Peter Erskine, but also a little Tony Williams. It's kind of a combination of the tune Fred by Tony Williams' Lifetime and Fast City by Weather Report.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
so it's fast, it's reckless, and makes me think like I'm 18 again. Here we go.